some usul that I think every single Salafi needs to know, and principles with regard to the issue of refutation and rebuttal of Ahlul Bid'ah. And he mentions that some of the people that they claim that these rudud, that these refutations that are being written, that they are a cause of fitna and tafarruq between the students and the youth. That this is the cause, that this, as a result of the refutations, that the students and the youth and the Muslims at large, that they begin to divide and split amongst each other. So the Shaykh, his point here in these first couple of pages, and I'll just take the meat of that which he says and those quotes that are going to be easy to bring out in the short period of time that we have. He mentions, Sheikh Muhammad Bazmul, he mentions that actually it is silence in the face of deviation and misguidance that is the cause of fitna in reality, that cause immense corruption between the Muslims. So it is not permissible. He mentions it is not permissible to remain silent regarding misguidance when the misguidance appears. And it is this silence in the face of bid'ah, in the face of those people who deviate from the kitab and the sunnah, it is this silence, and this silence becomes nothing except like grey ashes that cover the glowing embers underneath, silencing them, but the fire still burns secretly underneath the ashes. Just like when you light a fire, and then over a period of time, the grey ashes, they cover the glowing embers underneath. So sometimes a person may be deceived into thinking that the fire has been extinguished, but underneath, the fire is still glowing, the embers are still glowing red. So refuting these people is a protection of the religion itself and from the obligations of the religion. Just as Shaykh al-Islam Ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah ta'ala, that he stated, the purification of the path of Allah, the purification of the path of Allah and His religion, and His minhaj, and His sharia, and to protect it from the errors of those people and their enmity upon that, is an obligation of kifaya. It is fard kifaya, by the consensus of the Muslims, that a group of the Muslims are obligated to refute and to rebut and to oppose the mukhalafat, to oppose these oppositions to the kitab and the sunnah. By obligations, a group of the ummah must rebut them and must refute them, to repel the harm. And he mentions, and if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had not raised those individuals, meaning the ulama, to repel the harm of these people, then the deen itself, the religion itself, would have been corrupted. Indeed, its corruption, meaning the deen by misguidance, is greater than the corruption that comes about by the conquering of the enemy, by warfare of its army. And that is because when the enemy, the non-Muslim, conquers the Muslim lands, then they cannot corrupt the hearts of the Muslims. By conquering the Muslim lands, they will kill, and they will plunder, and they will take the wealth from the Muslim lands. But the hearts of the Muslims themselves will remain upon the deen of Allah. They will not give up their religion just because a Christian has come to overtake them, or a Jew has come to overtake them, or the Hindus, they fight them, or the people of idolatry, they invade the lands of the Muslims. They may take the wealth of that land, they take the property of that land, they may pillage and they may plunder, but they will not, that in and of itself will not be a cause of the Muslims to leave their religion. Their hearts will remain sound upon the deen of Allah. That they may give up their houses and their land, but they will not give up their hearts to the deen of the Christians and the Jews. So therefore he mentions, and that is because when they conquer, they cannot corrupt the hearts, and that which the heart contain of the religion of Islam, except over a period of time, meaning generation after generation after generation. It is possible for a Muslim eventually to be worn away, so much so that he loses the aspects of his religion. But as for these deviants, these people who come in the garbs of Islam, then they corrupt the religion, or they corrupt the hearts right from the beginning and right from the outset.